then the new Avengers movie was pretty okay.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. It was
It
okay, but like, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't as hype as the original Adventures, I think.
well, they also changed the storyline, right? Because Thanos has a different reason for he's doing comic.
Yeah, but that's like mostly for all their movies because
Yeah,
they can't just verbatim like follow the comic books.
I think it made him a better villain in a sense, but I felt like there were a couple plot holes with.
Yeah. Instead, now he's just like he needs balance in his life or something, so that's his motivation.
He seems like a parent trying to discipline his kids. That's what he seems like to me.
Thanos needs balance in his life, just like you need balance in your Dota teams. Transitions. How's it going today, Dergo?
It's going good. Um, the season's been rough so far, just because of the weird shit that's been happening.
Yeah. We've got brand new admins. We've got new players, people coming over from SEL or whatever the other league is called. It's great, but I know it's been a rough season for you and your team so far. Hopefully you guys can bounce back from that. We're going to delve a little bit into what's been going on with you guys. I'm going to step through kind of your picks here and then also talk about your reasoning for picking them, kind of your draft strategies with them. So we'll jump right into Vodal. Just like I had last week, first pick support. Nolgan technically didn't first pick support. Wanted him to play mid, but he had been playing support in the past few games. Do you have a specific reason for first picking support, and how does that work with your team comp having such a high rank support?
So I have a couple reasons, but they weren't really like. So like, I personally think when I'm playing like higher tier games, I know it's not may not be true entirely with Reddit because there's a wide spectrum of metals that are represented, but I think it's good to have a high level of support only because supports are more aware of what's going on with the game. They don't have to pay attention as much to last hitting. They don't have to pay attention as much to maintaining creep equilibrium. They have more freedom in while they're walking between the map to check on how the players need to do, and they're really what I think a good team needs. Like they're kind of like the 5 support is definitely feels like it's kind of like the glue that can help keep together. And since I'm having to play a core role, I won't have the opportunity to spend a lot of time looking around the map. And like checking in on everyone and directing people as much as I'd like to in the early game. So I needed somebody else who could do that for me in the early game.
Do you feel that it's better to have the shot caller in a support role or in a carry role?
So I think it's better to have. So essentially, it's like divided up. For me, I think early game the support. Vod'll help call shots, whatever. I can't keep my brain straight. He helps maintain that early game and like saying like, oh, let's do this early game. But once it hits to a phase when laning phase is pretty much over, it's essentially me making calls. Granted, sometimes we haven't had enough practice, so sometimes what I say can be misinterpreted and it leads to misgivings or overcommitting. And that tends to be like the biggest issue is just when it's like, oh, let's kill them, and people go in and he's almost dead, and they just keep chasing, and then it ends up killing everyone on our team, and we don't get the kill, and it's just not good. So
It seems to be kind of where your games don't go too well. Then it's just a mix of or a mess up of communications.
yeah, and that purely lies in the fact that we haven't had enough practice. The first week, my graphics card got bricked by a new update from NVIDIA, and then the second week, my house got struck by lightning. So I have not had enough time to set up scrims very much for my team, let alone this last week. We've had trouble trying to get people on.
Someone picks Zeus IRL, it sounds like.
Yeah, and Wrath of God me. It fried my modem and my Ethernet port in my computer, so I had to And then my water heater went out too, so I've been fixing a lot of stuff.
3 for 1 there.
Yeah, it was great.
Swamp Donster, your second pick. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right. I was gonna say
Yeah,
dumpster, but no.
Swamp Donster, or as some of the players have been just calling it, Donnie, as a joke.
Okay. Ancient 4, second pick, offlaner. Is he? I think there's two types of offlaners. I think there's an offlaner that doesn't do very well in the early game, then can maybe come back, and then there's offlaners like Shea Doctor that just dominates their lane. Is he someone that you just kind of leave to take over his lane, or do you think he's more of he's going to struggle early on, but later he can come back and make plays?
So he's actually the carry player at the because he said he was a carry player for Ohio State, so he's been playing our carries. So he might have mixed up him and Haruhi. Yeah, so he's been playing carry for us, and it's been going well. I think there are still some issues because as a team, we're still having that disconnect, and maybe a little bit too aggressive in some cases. Getting caught out happens. That seems to be an issue for us right now. Is getting caught out without buyback and then being able to push out with our hard carry dead. That's pretty much, I think, it going on there. He's a really good player. I think most of the players on my team are really good players. They have a lot of potential. Just we need practice.
Yeah. Do you think that experience from Ohio State esports bleeds into RD2L and helps you guys out a little bit?
Definitely for the heroes that he's very comfortable with. I have been sticking him on carries he doesn't particularly like, and I don't know how much other players let mood affect them when they play a game. I tend to be like a flex role. I can play just about every hero, so I don't really care what I'm playing. But I do know some players really like to play certain heroes and lean towards them, and I tend to take people out of their comfort zone sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Is that just something that you think needs to be fixed with your drafting strategy then?
It could be drafting strategy, or it could be that I need players just need to become more versatile, right? I think as much as for me right now for the season, since it's my first time being captain in the season, I want to try and do the best we can and win and try to make playoffs. I don't know how realistic that is, but if it's not as realistic as I hope, I'd like to take the opportunity to help the players on my team become better and widen the repertoire of heroes and skills.
Very noble goal there. Just help everybody get better. Your third pick now, offlaner and Harui, which of course yes. I mixed them up. This is your actual offlaner. I noticed you picked him a lot of Pit Lord and Axe in the last 2 weekend games. Do you think he's more of a frontline kind of hero player?
I think so. I think this is my fault entirely. I think when I read him when I was drafting, I thought he was, and I looked at his Dota buff, and he's been playing a lot of offlane recently, but he did have some one position, so hard carry role that he plays, and a little bit of mid. And so when I originally drafted him, I thought he'd be fine to play mid, and then he told me he didn't want to play mid after I drafted him a couple days later. So I stuck him in off lane, and it seems I've just been having problems. Just because he's a good player, but I think there's some miscommunication. I don't know if you've watched one of our recent games, but initiating on a Sand King, and it's just like Sand King's too tanky and not a good enough core for an Axe to initiate for us to win. And then he can be late to fights, and that's, again, probably repeat it, broken record, is mostly because of practice. We haven't even had one game of practice with Haruhi yet. We've played 3 or 4 total games of him, 2 of them being scrim week and then 2 being last week. so we haven't had much time team to adjust to Haruhi. And that's putting a strain on the team. And that isn't exactly his fault. Like I said, I don't think the scheduling has been anyone's fault. I've been getting owned by Zeus in real life. So,
Is there someone else you considered for offlane before putting him there then?
so that's the weird thing. I've had a lot of people tell me that I should be playing one role, but I think when I was drafting, I was just looking to fill positions because I'm a flex player, and I was like, I'll just fill whatever position I can't fill appropriately, and it ended up being offlane was the role that I couldn't. Everyone had drafted most of the offlaners. Come the point when I drafted Haruhi, and I was like, well, I will play offlane then. That was the assumption that I was going to play offlane because I like to play. I play offlane. I mostly, when I played my Divine games in pubs, I usually play offlane 4 or 5 role because a lot of people fight over mid and safe lane. So I usually just take whatever people want, and I've grown accustomed to offlane. But I was not able to play offlane this season based on
One of your 4th picks or last few picks in Hippo, and both games I think you played with him. He played Witch Doctor. Is that just a comfort hero, or is that just a hero you think is really in meta and good pick right now?
I think it's a good pick, only because it fits the team comps that we've been playing, because when you're playing Axe or you're playing Underlord, like there were a couple of fights when we had when Underlord would show up and put down his root. Stacking a cask on top of that root really helps win the fight really hard. And that's the reason, because in combination with roots, cask does a lot of work. And that's why we were picking him, because he's a good hero, he has some good hybrid damage, and he does a good level of harassing in the lane. Yeah, that's mostly the reason we've been picking him. Is he's just a good, well-rounded hero. Comes with heals, comes with the stun, comes with multiplicative damage, and has a really good ultimate. So I think he's a well-rounded hero. I like him a lot.
Your last pick, gosh, blanking on the name right now. Hero.
Yes.
Yes, I did notice this while drafting, but you have 3 H's, and that was really
yeah. People wanted to call they wanted to call it Triple H.
It would have worked, honestly. But he played Axe I think it was your last game he played Axe while Votto played Skywrath in the same lane. Is that kind of just a mixing up?
No, Haruhi played Axe. But when we played some scrims against Zephyr, he played Axe.
Okay.
When Haruhi hasn't been for practice or we haven't had Haruhi available, Hero has been our offlaner. Hero is actually for what his medal indicates, and he was not getting picked up. He's a very good player. He talks a little bit too much in alt chat. That's his worst quality. It's not a very bad quality to have, but he's actually a lot better than his medal indicates. He's very receptive, and he's a good player.
Really good value pickup then.
Yeah, I think so. He told me he hasn't really played. When he started this Reddit season, he told me that he hadn't really played since the original ranking. Like when it was just numbers, no medals. Like during the first year that was out, and that was like the last time he played. And that's the reason why he got queued up as, I imagine, Legend 5, I think he was initially. I don't know if he's higher now.
When I had talked to you just initially about stability in your team and having Vottle, as that support that's constant with your team, and then you rotate in the supports, do you think that gives you a big advantage over other teams, just having Vottle constantly playing and then your supports rotating in for the support duo?
Yeah, I think it helps out a lot because one important thing that the 5 role has to fill is getting the ward game out, and it's been difficult for us, but having a dedicated support that doesn't rotate out, knows where we need wards to have and where to place wards, is definitely I think, an advantage. I know some teams swap out. I've seen some teams having to swap out their carry based on their picks. But
You think it's better to swap out supports then, or?
so it's difficult to say, right? Because supports, at least in my opinion, have the largest impact in the game, early game. And so if you're not playing, if you're playing heroes that need to snowball, then you want your supports to be the most stable players. But if you're not playing snowball heroes and you're just playing heroes that spike at level 6 or something like that, it's probably better. So like in my case, since I have the support swap out and don't have a completely consistent support base, it's probably better for me to play less snowball heroes because Vottle has to get used to playing with 2 different players versus everyone else, because he should have a lot more interaction with the support that plays 4 anyone else does, because he should be helping them make decisions, rotating 2 lanes and the lane and stacking as such.
And that's just something that comes with a lot of, if you were able to practice more, it would come out.
I think so. Like, so I think when we played our scrim against Zephyr the second week, so the week that we had off, during that week we played right before my house got hit by lightning. And we did really well against them. We played exactly how we needed to play as teams. Everyone was talking, communicating properly. And this was without Haruhi, so I want to do that with Haruhi. And I feel the biggest misgiving is we practiced without Haruhi because he was unable because of some family issues. And as a result, though the 5 players without Haruhi have bonded, and there seems to be a disconnect between the team and Haruhi. And I'm trying to bridge that gap so that it's not happening anymore, but it's proving difficult.
Got, what, 6 more weeks to take care of that, so should be able to get something done. Hopefully able to break 500. I know that's my goal right now, too, is just break 500. We're going to move on to the Dota Buff quiz now. Thank you for just talking about your team a little bit. It was pretty interesting talk. Dota Buff quiz, hopefully you study for this. If not, then hopefully you don't get too embarrassed. So, I'm sure you know, or do you know how this goes?
I have no idea, so you're likely to watch me fumble.
All right. So I'm just going to ask you 5 questions just on stats that I've gotten from your Dota Buff. You can give me answers that are close enough. Usually I'll just deem whether or not they're close enough. And most people do end up getting, like, because if it's a ridiculously high number and you're within, like, 1,000, let's say, for hours, I'll take it, because nobody knows how many hours they play of Dota, and half of it's, like, AFK anyways. So let's jump right in. Question number 1. Your highest played hero is Ursa. What is your current win rate with that hero?
So I've been depressed about it because I've been losing games because he doesn't seem that great anymore. But he is my favorite hero by far. And if I had to guess, I know he's lower than my Shadow Shaman, who's at 73, so he's probably 68% now.
69%, but 1% off is still pretty good. So we'll give you that one. Like I said, if you're close enough, like 1 out of 100, that's fantastic. Question number 2. How many total matches of Dota have you played, and how many of them have you won?
So I have a 52% win rate, somewhere around there. And if I have... I'm pretty sure I have around 1650 would be my guess. So if that was the case, total matches would be around 3,200? 3,300?
Almost dead on. You have 1,800 matches won and about 3,600 matches played. I just rounded it up. I think it's like actually 3717 or something like that. But
trust me, there's way more. I've been playing since 2000.
Yeah,
Five.
that's the problem with the stat like that on Dota Buff is that half of your games, if they were in the original Dota client, probably aren't there. So we'll go with just a little bit of deviation there from the regular number. Question number 3: what is your current average for CS at 10 minutes in your lifetime or in your Dota lifetime?
I'm not going to be anywhere close. I would assume 10 minutes. So if we assume there's, and I play a wide range of roles. So if we assume that there's 4 units per wave every 30 seconds,
I think there's 82 creeps, but I could be wrong now. That was the number from a long time ago.
There is another, so there's an extra creep at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So you're looking at 80, 81, 82. Yeah. I would guess that it's really hard. I'm going to say 30.
38. So you underranked yourself, which is good though. That's being humble. All right. But, well, that one's a little bit too far off. I won't give you that one just because I have to draw the line somewhere. You understand, of course. Question number 4: what is your most played hero in esports matches? So if you go to your Dota Buff and you hit esports profile, it'll give you the same amount of heroes, like most heroes played. What is your top hero and how many matches?
Oh God, that I probably won't know. But if I had to take a guess, I played most of my games with Sam, and I know Sam really liked picking me Terror. If I had to guess Terrorblade, it was 4 matches.
Terrorblade is right, and it was 6 matches.
Ah.
Yeah. I believe 4 ties with another hero that I totally slipped my mind, but Terrorblade 6 matches is the right answer.
I would guess if
0.5
if it was 4, it was Lycanthrope.
With the last patch, I wouldn't doubt it. Question number 5 and the final question: what is your most banned hero so far this season? And you've only played 3 matches in RD2L, so
I've essentially banned Brewmaster every match.
Not well. I guess it technically isn't close, but
who? So if it's not Brewmaster, who else do I just hate with a passion? I hate Sniper a lot, like a lot.
There you go. That you've banned Sniper in all 3 of your matches so far.
I just hate the hero, man. I just can't stand playing against it mid.
And funny story, that hasn't been your only, like, you don't just ban it immediately every single time too. I've noticed you banned it like in just intervals where sometimes it's first phase, sometimes it's the last banning phase. So
yeah, because I feel like people don't like to pick up Sniper unless they know they might win the lane. So like if Viper's still in the pool, people usually stay the hell away from Sniper. Or something like Akasha. If Akasha or Sniper or Viper's still in the pool, like they can easily just shut Sniper out of the lane super hard.
All right. Dergo, thank you so much for coming on and entertaining everybody for a couple, 25 minutes here. Do you have anything last to say about your team, about RD2L in general?
I really enjoy RD2L. I don't have a lot of time, but like being able to play on Sundays, get to know people in the community is fun, and it definitely restores my faith a little bit in the Dota community from besides being a toxic wasteland of assholes. So it's a great community. It's really grown on me, and I think I'll continue playing. And I think my team has a lot of potential. We just need practice. So
great optimistic outlook there. Good luck in the rest of your season. Thanks for coming on.
Yep, thanks for having me, man. It was fun.